Well, good day. I'd like to welcome you to episode 21 of the Dan John podcast. Today, we can legally drink in Utah. We have a really good question from Chris because it's something that happens more than you people think. You people, whoever you people are, okay? I'm an overweight personal trainer. I'm just going to stop right there. This Chris wrote this to us because one of the problems you get when you work in any field where where you're helping other people, is that very often the last person's health you worry about is yours. I love nurses. And the reason I love nurses, not so much anymore, but when I was young and good looking and had the world at my feet, I loved to party with nurses. Nurses smoke, at least the ones I knew, smoke like chimneys. They drink heavy. They stay up late. That same wonderful Florence Nightingale who tells you to do all these things about your health doesn't work on their own health. And I kind of wish this would make a great study. But it's one of those things when you give, you forget to take. In one of my favorite videos ever made of me, that's kind of cocky, I guess, but go with it. I talk about the importance of me hiring a personal trainer. Now, right now I got Robert, or Sarge. He's a great personal trainer. Ben works with me too. Mitch, Madison, some others. In the past, I had Buddy Walker when I was in San Francisco, and Buddy was just a great person for me to work with. And the reason I hire personal trainers to coach me is because, and I've said this many times, but it, if you coach yourself, you have an idiot for a client. And so one of the things that I like about this question right from the get-go is the candid and honest insight that Chris is giving us. So he's a personal trainer, 33-year-old male, 260, around 25% body fat. 25% body fat at 260, that's not bad. I've been struggling with my weight my entire life. In fact, it's what got me into the fitness industry about 10 years ago. I'm sitting here applauding you, man. I have managed to get great results for my clients, yet I cannot seem to succeed with my own body comp goals. It's not like I feel like the laws of physics don't apply to me and I'm some anomaly that can't lose weight in a calorie deficit, but more so that I just can't seem to stick with a program or eating plan long enough to make a difference. And I love this next section, folks. Yes, I know. Go to bed earlier, eat more protein and veg, drink more water, walk daily. I know all this. I tell my clients this daily, but why don't I listen to it myself? I'm my worst client, but I'm hoping to turn that around. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for me? First off, you are so far down the path right now, you don't even realize it. You just did the first thing we always talk about. You admitted there's a problem. You said, I got a problem. It's what I'm reading here is not the first time I've had this interaction. I'm going to tell you from the heart, maybe you can trade this out, but I want you to hire somebody to walk. And by the way, okay, you can go to danjohnworkouts.com. You can plug in the park bench workouts. Let us give you the workouts. Maybe you can have a training partner just be there with you. Let somebody else be yourself, your free will, your self-discipline. You're okay. You're not alone. Other people do this. I work with a friend that I'm not in a place to work out all the time extra, but I square out time to work with this person because I'm trying to help this person turn things around. I coach this person, and then we training partner each other, and I get extra work in. So the best advice I can give you, either partner up, trade, or hire someone to work with you. There's a great South Park where there's this thing called accountability buddies. On the movement side, I want you to get someone to work with. On the food side, I want you to get an accountability buddy, someone you trust, someone you care for. I would like them to have a daily phone call with you. They call you, and you have to answer and talk about your food diary for the day, your water, your sleep, and your food diary for the day. I would suggest perhaps you do the Josh Hillis method, judgment free. You put a check mark, a green check every time there's protein, and you circle with red every time there's a cheat. There's no judgment on either one of them, but you want to feed the monkey up here green check marks, green check marks, green check marks. Those are two good ideas. If you don't mind, I'd like you to follow up on both of them. And when you do, the moment you follow up on both of those ideas, I want you to ping us back here at podcast at danjohnworkouts.com. And I'm going to be your 40,000 cliche time, your 40,000 foot accountability buddy. Okay, your job is to, let's just say, if I said email me once every 3 weeks, is that gonna be okay? Let's do that. Okay, and if you don't mind, we'll share your story here, Chris, and because I think it's good for everybody to hear this. Paul writes us, really loving the website, podcasts, and all the awesome articles. Thank you. Been reading a lot about isometric training, and it appears to me that easy strength and isometrics might be a good combination. I would appreciate your thoughts on this. You know, it's funny. So here in my office, I have a bunch of artwork that I have. I got a little art place over here that I have framed. It's expensive, but the last thing I just brought in was a bunch of isometric pictures that the famous weightlifter Bill March sent me, and I'm gonna make a big. I wouldn't call it a collage, but big framed in thing, multiple 8.5 by 11 shots of him training. Yeah. The only thing is this: isometrics work very specific weaknesses. Easy strength makes you stronger. Sounds the same, but it's gonna be a little bit different. That's why I'm such a big fan when you're doing maximal attempts. Us look and say, okay, there's your weakness right there, and then hammer the isometrics on top of that. So could you do isometrics with easy strength? Yeah, I guess you could. Never done it, so this is just me spitballing, and I hate doing that because I don't have an experience with it. But if you were going to do the basic 5 easy strength movements, the vertical push, the vertical pull, the deadlift, the swing or farmer walk, and the ab wheel, and then maybe did something like specific work at a weak point in your squat, and pure isometrics, not functional isometric where you add load, but pure no bar work, and did a 6 to 12 second push every day, and where your weakness was, wait the 40 days and then test. It'd be an interesting idea. Generally, though, I think you should separate those two out. I use isometrics for specific weaknesses only and for technical training. So it doesn't fit in my world, but here's another idea, if you don't mind, Paul, is why don't you try it and get back to me, man? I would love to find out how you do on that. Thank you. Great question. I'll do my best to there's no place to look it up. The only place to look it up is up here, but I'll think about it a little bit for you, okay? Thank you. We got another question from Bill. I tell you, man, we get a lot of bills here. We should pay them. Sorry about that. I apologize. Dan, so glad I found your training and programming. I've been reading your stuff on T Nation for a long time. Oh, thank you. Can you lend some advice to a 64-year-old who is trying to lose a belly, fight the aging process, gain functional strength, and ward off the medical community for a while longer? Your podcast is worth the price of membership on your website alone. Well, thank you, Bill. Guess what, Bill? You're on the website. You've won the battle. So I would say 3 to 5 park bench workouts a week. In fact, at 64, I would suggest more like the 5, Because you're going to have 3 that'll be kind of workoutish and 2 that'll be a little bit more tonic. And they'll be a little bit easier, so that'll work out nicely. On losing the belly, let me go back to what I said earlier. I think you need to, at 64, you've got to have intermittent fasting in your wheelhouse, in your toolkit, in your add other cliche. Okay, my mother-in-law is doing intermittent fasting, and that's great because that means every time I talk to her, she has 3,000 questions. But I think it's pretty simple. Ready? Don't eat, and then eat. Do you want to? I'll give you a moment to write that down. So I like Pat Flynn's idea, and let's go through it again, which I think might work well for you, Bill. Have about a 15-hour fast. I would say up to maybe 16 hours. At the end of that fast, do your park bench workout. When you finish that park bench workout that you have on the site, make sure you, and by the way, it can be done with body weight. Anything you have is great. Don't worry too much at first about the equipment. When you finish that, catch your breath. I would suggest a protein drink right now. Now, I buy them at the store because I can get them over here at a place called Macy's, the ones I buy. They're really quite inexpensive. I don't necessarily want to tell you a brand because I don't know what country you're in and things change, but the brand I use is about this big. It's got 30 grams of protein. It tastes just fine. I don't even notice it. And then after that, at your meals, you know the drill now. Protein, vegetables, water. Thank you very much. And just stick to that and try to cycle through that as many days as you can. I can almost guarantee if you did that for 365 days, you wouldn't know yourself, Bill. And that's the key to losing the belly, fighting the aging process, gaining functional strength, and keeping the medical community at bay. You need to fast. You need to work out. And then you need, once you've done that, once you start eating, then just live a happy, normal life. And Bill, do me a favor at 64. Huh? Let's keep making a difference, okay? Thank you. We have a question from Chris, and Chris has 2 questions. Oh my God, 2 questions. See if I can answer them both. Firstly, my 13-year-old son is keen to start weight training for rugby. Good. I like this kid. Oh, and there's more to say. Okay. I have a very well-equipped garage gym he can train in, and I have got him some personal training sessions to teach him good technique, as at 13 he has a tendency to ignore my sage advice. I like this guy. I would appreciate your thoughts on a solid program to start him on. Yeah, I got one. What I want you to do is go on this thing called the internet. In fact, it is, if you're not a member of Dan John Workouts, we can still help you. But if you go to Dan John Workouts, go to the PDF called From the Ground Up. In there's a program called the Southwood program. But if you don't, type in Dan John Southwood, one word, Southwood, and you'll get the Southwood program, which is the first true training program I ever used. I had been lifting weights for years. I followed the Ted Williams program, but mostly we did curls and overhead presses. Southwood is the power clean, military press, front squat, bench press workout. 3 days a week, and just have them go in there and just keep doing those. The original Southwood program was a set of 8, followed by a set of 6, followed by a set of 4. That's all. And when you got all the 8, 6, 4, next time you would go up, 5 or 10 pounds, depending on what kind of equipment you have. Seeing on how you spelled a few things here, and the rugby, you might be just using kilos. So maybe just add a kilo every time he gets 864, you add a kilo. Keep good records. Make sure he starts a journal. Because when I go back to my journal that I have from 1971, and I'm lifting in my garage, my back deck with my mom and dad drinking coffee 30 feet away from me talking, it's some of the best memories of my life. So make sure he starts on a journal, because when he's 62, he will thank you profusely for this opportunity. On a personal note, I have just worked through your high rep squat schedule from Mass Made Simple using the 60K max at the age of 43 and a weight of 80K. Well, good. Would you advise starting again using the 80K max, or try something different for the squat. Well, once you've done the mass made simple, once you've squatted body weight up to 50, you pretty much topped out. And this is something I didn't know when I was younger. I kept doing, I'd get the high reps in and then do it again and do it again. It might be a good idea to move into a different direction, Chris. Maybe instead of doing the high rep squats, maybe do some goblet squats, and goblet squats followed by sprints. If you don't know how to do the front squat, maybe learn how to front squat. If you don't know how to do the overhead squat, learn how to do the overhead squat. Give yourself, a month, 2 months, 3 months of learning these other techniques or trying these different things. So when you do go back to the high rep squats again, which have great value, you'll have you'll have improved your flexibility, your mobility, and you'll have kind of loaded your system with some new feelings about squats, and it might really help your squat long term. Lastly, now you said 2 questions. This is 3 questions. I'm keeping an eye on this Chris guy. Lastly, I intend to make one of your European workshops when you're next over. Do you have any dates confirmed yet? You know what? Let me talk to Brian, and I will put together the dates as best I can. I know I have an event in Sweden. Of course, I'm teaching at St. Mary's. I think I'm doing an event in Luxembourg, and today was asked to do a workshop in a place called Chelsea. I come back in July. That's all in June. I come back in July. Oh, and I'm not going to give you the letters right, but it's the IKEA event, and that's a little bit north of London, and that's all I can remember about it right now. But I'll do my best to put that up. And if it's okay with Brian, we'll find a way to host that on the site, okay? So, Chris, you said 2 questions. That was 3, so you owe me. All right, thanks so much. Okay, we have a question from Adley. 1. How strong is strong enough? I train to just be able to move well, perform daily tasks, and lead a healthy life. I don't aim to deadlift a house or bench press a car, but I'm wondering what you think is a good base strength for a male to have. Yeah, it's real simple. If you go to danjohn.net, so type in on Google danjohn.net, sleepless in Seattle, and I give you all my strong enough. But to save you all that work, I think you ought to be able to bench body weight, deadlift, I think double body weight, but that's what I think. So I'll just stick with it. Do 5 pull-ups. Okay. I'd love to see you be able to perform a deep goblet squat without any real, it should look okay. I'd love to see you squat body weight. And then an odd one, but I found this to be very helpful, is it doesn't have to be a Turkish getup, but this is what we use. You get a half a cup. Now make sure it's a plastic or paper cup. Fill a paper cup halfway full of water and do a Turkish getup with the water on the fist. And then when you come back down, switch hands and do it that way. That's been this wonderful test for me that I've used to just double check. And someone's gonna say, well, that's balance. Oh, that's this, that's that. But for me, it really checks overall body mobility. If you can get up and down without baptizing yourself, it tells me that your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles are all doing the jobs that the shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles are supposed to be doing. Okay? 2, I love your idea of complexes. You know what, Adley, I'm with you 100%. In fact, I'm going to be sending Brian an article, another article about Olympic lifting. It's going to be about what I wish I would have done, and it's going to be complexes, which are so simple and yet so effective. I am wondering whether complexes could be used in a fat loss phase. Yeah, they are one of the best fat loss tools I know. For those who don't know my complexes, just type in my name and then type in complexes, remember XES, and you'll get the first 2 hits are a T-Nation article that I wrote in 2010 about complexes, and the next hit usually is my complexes from danjohn.net, and they come in these, I've already typed them in, that if you print them, each complex A, B, C, D, E, F come in one page so that when you're doing them, you put them on the ground in front of you. So you go row, and then the next exercise is clean. When you finish your clean, you look down. Front squat, you front squat. When you finish front squat, you look down. Military press. When you finish military press, you look down. It says back squat, good morning, throw the bar down. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of these. I would say for work capacity, yes, and fat loss, absolutely yes. Bus bench style workout, or would it cause me to lose too much muscle? Also, would a complex be good with dumbbells as a substitute? If you type in complex dumbbells, I don't know if they're still up, but you'll get Istan Javoric's work where he has 100 complexes with dumbbells. Personally, there's only one kettlebell complex I really like, and that's what I call the armor building workout. 2 double cleans, 1 double press, 3 double front squats. That's the only complex I like in kettlebells. I don't do enough dumbbell complexes to have a comment, and I'm doing my best to be absolutely honest with you, okay? Another Todd asked a question. I tell you, these Todds, they think they just run this show. My question about mass made simple. How important is it to follow the lifts in order? It's absolutely. If you don't follow them in order, you're not doing the program. I had somebody ask me one time, well, since squats are so hard, should I do them first? And I said, yeah, go ahead and get back to me on how that works. I mean, it's a phone call within about 4 hours. That's the stupidest thing I ever did. Yeah, because while you're fresh, you want to do the bench press, the one-arm press, the bird dogs, the complex. And then when you do that last set of squats up to 50 with your body weight, you're not going to be sitting around going, I've never had someone squat body weight for 50 and go, now what? Don't happen. So yes, it's very important in that order. The gym is super crowded now, and I hate sitting around waiting. I'm sorry. That's, I get a little loose, and then I got to realize that not everybody works in the situations I work in. The benches and squat racks are in bottlenecks. I imagine I shouldn't mess around with the order, but waiting 25 minutes for the bench can be tough. Todd, I'm going to tell you this. Don't tell anybody this. Promise me, please don't tell anybody this. Why don't you drop the bench press? Just you and me, bro. Just you and me. Don't tell anybody else. If you want to substitute like so we've got the single arm press in there. If you want to maybe just double up the single arm press, that'll be fine. Obviously, it's going to be different than the original, but this will work. In fact, I don't want to rewrite that book, but if I could, I would probably... anytime you don't have bench press, Americans don't do the workout, but doing just regular presses are probably all you're going to need. So try that idea. And I want you to do this for me, Todd. I want you to do one workout where you double up the one-arm press stuff and then finish the rest of the workout. And then email me and let me know how that goes. Okay? Thanks. This is from Jack. I am currently a disillusioned office drone, regretting never choosing to serve in my country's military. I am nearing the max age. I'm currently 34, and I have decided to try out next year for the selection course. It is infantry focused with lots of running and rucking. I love the rucking. This gives me roughly 12 to 18 months to prepare. My plan was to stick to a park bench program of easy strength 3 times weekly, Maffetone runs 60 to 120 minutes 3 times weekly, ruck 3 hours once weekly, 0 to 3 hours once weekly. That's good. I have some other ideas for you. And then immediately prior to selection, run a bus bench program for 12 weeks to prepare me for the specific demands. I was wondering if you think the above is appropriate. You know what? Let's just do this. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do, my friend. I like this program. I like it a lot. If you're on our website, there's an article called The Climbing Program. And I know it's up there. One thought I have in my mind is, let's break you up into, I want you to do the climbing program and what you suggest here. So the climbing program is going to be a very specific kind of thing. And all the information's in there. There's going to be presses. There's going to be windmill sticks. There's going to be rucking. There's going to be some workout. There's going to be some sprinting at a school, or if you live in my neighborhood, my block is absolutely perfect. But what I want you to start thinking about is two things. So I love your program here. I like it a lot. I would even suggest, if you have the time, is doing the easy strength and the Maffeyton runs on the same day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, lift, run, lift, run, lift, run, and then the weekly hike, the ruck, either Saturday or Sunday. And on Tuesday, Thursday, and the other day, Saturday or Sunday, that's your day to do mobility work. I want you to run that for about, let's say 6 to 8 weeks, and then do the climbing program we have on the site here for you. And follow it exactly. Now you're going to say to yourself, well, I don't have a climb to do. On that Saturday where you're supposed to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Olympus, K2, whatever, the Himalayas, whatever, just go for an extremely long hike. Come out to Utah. I've got a couple I can give you here. I would say something that takes, I don't know, 6 to 12 hours. When you finish that, go right back to the Easy Strength program. And let's just balance those two out. When you do get into the service, they are going to test you with that trap bar deadlift and the rucking, but with the carrying. But trust me, for now, this gentle, easy approach that we're going to do is going to work great for the first. I would say that's going to put you in real good shape the first 12 months. And then we can maybe tweak you up a little bit in the 6 months to go in. What I'll do, and you're going to contact me when you've done this a couple times, I'll talk to Sarge, he's my personal trainer, and see what else I can get, and maybe we can glean some information to tweak this down a little bit better for you. Okay? We have a delightful email from my friend Andy. I'm a former collegiate cross country and track competitor who now focuses on strength and conditioning work as a way to prepare for backcountry bow hunting. Most of my best friends in college were distance runners. What are your thoughts on someone utilizing easy strength 5 to 6 times a week as a wake-up routine and 2 to 3 times a week doing hypertrophy style training in the evening? Do you think the additional hypertrophy training would interfere with the adaptation process of easy strength? Well, the adaptation process of easy strength, Andy, is just teaching your neurological system that I want to do this. For those who are listening, I'm pretending I'm bench pressing. So 5 days a week, I'm doing this movement. Can you mix easy strength with a hypertrophy program? Well, my thought would be this. Easy strength is going to try to build your strength numbers up. Why don't you get strong to a certain level of comfortable strength and then do the hypertrophy program? Because a good hypertrophy program that basically does reps from about 15 to 30 total reps, 5 sets of 5, 3 sets of 8, is going to have the strength component in there. It's going to have the power component in there, and it's going to have the hypertrophy component in there. Probably the simplest thing for you to do, absolutely the simplest thing for you to do, is dump your idea of easy strength, sign up danjohnworkouts.com, and just do the park bench workouts. To me, that would be because you're going to get the strength work and the hypertrophy and other work in doing that. I'm not dismissing your idea here. I just don't know. I just don't know how well this would go. I always argue people chase too many rabbits, and everybody who listens know I say that. But the problem with your 2 rabbits is that your rabbits are kind of connected with they got a little doggy collar, rabbit collars connected to each other. You are literally chasing the same 2 rabbits. They're connected. So why don't you just focus on the more traditional 3 sets of 8, 5 sets of 5, and don't make things so complicated. You're doing just fine. I have a DeLorme-based hypertrophy workout where you do 3 sets of 8 push, 3 sets of 8 pull, 3 sets of 8 hinge, 3 sets of 8 squat, and then loaded carries. And anytime someone does it, they say, that by far is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Because that's real work. Those numbers with serious load, that's a lot of work. So why don't you just focus on a traditional, and when I say traditional, it's only about 70 plus years old right now, traditional DeLorme protocol, 15 to 30 total reps, 3 sets of 8, 5 sets of 5, and let that take care of business for you. Got a question here from Randy. Randy, before ordering Mass Made Simple, I worked through the light version on your blog. I noticed that the two programs have a bit of different approach. Yeah, sure. For example, the light version incorporates pull-ups and bicep curls, whereas the more advanced program omits them. Yeah. Was wondering if there is a specific reason for this. Yeah. Well, the light version is really, really hard. And adding, I don't know how you would add pull-ups to them because you're trying to bulk up. You know, we've had people we've had people add some numbers, 24 pounds, up to 30 pounds in 6 weeks. Well, that's going to destroy your pull-up. And trust me, if you're squatting body weight for 50, don't worry about your bicep curls. You're not going to need to worry about your biceps. Was wondering if there was a specific reason for this. I know in the book you discourage adding to the program, but do you see an issue with incorporating bicep curls pull-ups into the Mass Made Simple, or do you think that with the movements already incorporated in the workout, the curls and push-ups would be redundant? They would be redundant, but I've yet to have someone who did the 14 workouts raise their hand and say, "Jeepers, I wish I could have done more." No one has ever said that sentence. In fact, I've had people call me very mean things after they finish the Mass Made Simple program. And then they go, "Haha, just kidding." But I know they're not kidding. See, Randy, it's really, those 14 workouts, they suck. There's a couple workouts, and it's not just the 14th. The 14th one is tough. I expect you to squat your body weight for 50 reps straight through. But there's a couple others that are they're just lousy hard. The complexes. Do the complexes, then talking about pull-ups. When I say the next day you take off and then you do a tonic workout the day after that, at first people are like, I don't need it. By workout 8 or 9, you're like, I can barely stand up sometimes. So trust me, there's a lot of work. And here's the other thing, Randy, it's 6 weeks or 7 at most. Just follow it for 6 weeks, then make it perfect after that, okay? This is a question from Dave. You might not know that, Dave, but my name is Daniel Arthur David John. So I feel like we're almost family. I know that you and Pat Flynn are both big advocates of the ab wheel as an essential gym equipment. I don't have an ab wheel, but I have a TRX and do kneeling rollouts every other day. Am I missing out, or does the TRX kneeling rollout hit the same area? You could also do the barbell rollout. Yeah, Dave, this is one of the easiest questions I ever answered. It's that movement I'm trying to get people to do, that where your lats are engaged. It's weird that if you do them a certain way, if you're looking at someone, you can see their biceps are locked out. I mean, their biceps are piped up. Their lats are all. It's that holistic upper body pull this way is what we're looking for. The equipment isn't so much. My only thing is, Dave, just last week I got another one. It was $5 over at this little place here over in that supermarket over there. $5-10, you know, I just don't think that's a big hit. But certainly the TRX rollout is fine. And if for those of you hurting on money, that's why I love the barbell so much, is that you can do deadlift, clean and press, all the rest, and still do your ab rollouts with it. So yeah, no problem at all. I think you'll find that playing around with that TRX rollout and moving up, they have those advanced movements, that'll be all you'll ever need for that movement. Well, that was a fun 21st. As you know, when you have questions, email them to podcast@danjohnworkouts.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you, and see you again soon.